Hey guys, so last night, Aunt Tammy called into Lordy, it's Jordy, to discuss the upcoming case and a little bit more about her perspective on the situation. Normally, I would not react to a reaction channel. However, I think in this case specifically, it's important to hear it come from Tammy herself. So with that being said, if you are not subscribed to Jordy, please go over and subscribe to his channel. I'm going to make sure that the video is linked below in the description. Jordy is wanting to be at 100,000 subscribers by December, and he's so close. He's at 92.6. So if you're not subscribed, go subscribe. Hit like on the video, leave him a comment, let him know that I sent you. And um, go support the original creators because he does put himself out there to have her on his channel. And, along with Aunt Tammy, he was accused just like she was. So we really want to make sure that we're putting support behind him. So let's go ahead and get over here and let's see what Aunt Tammy has to say about the court case coming up.
Oh, didn't break a bathroom sink, but okay. Fun. We always joke about that, but I don't know. The things I would for a hairline like that. Oh, thanks. Patricia, welcome. Hello, hello.
All right, y'all. Well, we are going to take a detour from this for a moment to say hello to Tammy. I know that a lot of you are curious about the recent charges filed against Amber Lynn, so we are going to hear it from Tammy herself. Miss Tammy, how is your night going?
I'm in survival mode, but I'm doing all right.
Oh boy.
Unfortunately, our family lost my uncle. I found out through Facebook this morning, which was one of the fears that I had going in to destroying the relationship with my family. I knew we have actually several members that aren't doing well, and so I knew it was coming. But you're never really ready. So I'm dealing with that on top of work and the stress of the lawsuit. So it's a lot, but
That is so rough. I I think it says a lot about Amber and her mom and her grandma, that an uncle passed and nobody even felt the need to reach out to Aunt Tammy and say, hey, just so you know, this happened. Family can have all sorts of issues. However, when there is a health crisis or a death in the family, that is when you choose to be an adult and you set that stuff aside and you say, hey, we're going to agree to disagree. We're going to put everything aside for a moment because our family is, we're going through something really hard right now and we need our entire family. So I think it says a lot about them that they couldn't set that aside to contact Aunt Tammy, and that she had to find out through Facebook. Like, it, my heart is just broken for Tammy at this point.
you know,
I'm
I
so
think I've shown I'm
sorry.
pretty strong, and I know how to push through, and I'll continue pushing. It's just life. So
Oh,
it's
God,
a
yep.
it's a little rough day. Um, but I don't know how much time I have right now, so I'll get right to the point of what I know everyone's interested in knowing. I know it's already been shared that I did file, and I did. Went as soon as I could Tuesday after the holiday, because of course I knew I was going to be leaving town again for another 5 days, so I didn't want it to sit and simmer or have a chance of somebody calling and manipulating or, just doing everything that, you would imagine that they may do. So I just wanted to move forward because I have no fear in my case. It's very cut and dry. Talk about receipts. I got some receipts. It's really crazy to me. It's very hurtful. Even after I've heard everything about it.
Well, and the good thing for Tammy is that even if Amber tried to backpedal and remove the video and say it never happened, it's being manipulated. That's one of the good thing about reaction channels. When stuff like this happens, it is hard topics to cover. However, we hold people accountable, and we don't just hold them accountable. We are in essence archiving that footage. We are saving that footage for moments just like this. And so I think that is something that works very well in Tammy's behalf, because no matter how much Amber tries to go through and remove the content that she's put up, it is out there, and there's nothing she can do about it.
Amber, I'm still a little bit shocked that she said such a thing. That is such a horrible accusation. Every time I hear the video over and over, it's just crazy to say, I just heard this 5 minutes ago, but I'm going to go online and blast my aunt as if it's true. I can't wrap my head around that behavior. But, the more I see, the more I realize, and the clarity is definitely coming. So the next form of question I've seen a lot is why Small's claims court and not the bigger court? And that was a tough decision for me a little bit because according to my legal advice, I definitely had a bigger case. But as we know, it's a big fight. It takes a lot of money to fight it, even though I stand pretty firm that I would have won hands down, no problem whatsoever. I'm going for quality of life right now, and I just don't want to be tied into that for a long time. And then also, I had to be honest with myself. What is my intentions for doing this? Well, of course, I want the record set straight. So that's first and foremost a public apology, obviously. But you can't remove, even if she removes her video, all the reactions, all the commentary, it's on there for life.
Yep.
And she needs to understand that could damage me in my future.
Well, and that's one of the things that I talked about previously, is that Oklahoma has a very small town feel. There is a very good chance that if I started asking people that I know or that I'm related to, that I have some kind of connection to Tammie, just because she has lived here for so long. And so something like this can be extremely damaging to her reputation, even if it's removed, because that's something that's always going to be associated with her. Oh, you're Amber's aunt. Are you the one that she said? Oh, okay. And it gets even crazier, and it's more of a small world, because I did not realize until this morning. I thought that I was the only reaction channel that lives in Oklahoma, and I don't. Apparently, Hecticana lives about an hour away from me. And so that just goes to show just how damaging this could be to Aunt Tammie. Amber's putting this out online, thinking that it doesn't matter. It's not going to have an effect. She can say whatever she wants. However, two random people who happen to be on the internet are both in Oklahoma. We both may have ties to Aunt Tammie, or have ties to each other without realizing it, because that's how the state of Oklahoma works. It's just a small town place. And I think this is a very good lesson for Amber to learn. The stuff that you put out online, it may only affect you for the 5 minutes you're there. This is going to affect Tammie for life. Same thing with Casey and all the things that she has said about Casey. Same thing with Beck. How long did Beck go feeling like this corner of the internet had an issue with her? And, well, with them, I am so sorry, Beck. That the corner of the internet had an issue with them, and coming to find out that wasn't the case once we as a collective learned the truth. Because it only affects Amber for a little bit. It follows everybody else around.
I stand on faith, and I say anyone that knows me for me gets even any time with me, they would know that it's not factual, or I just don't really worry about it long term, because I would just say watch your videos. You know what I mean? Just, you be the judge. Just watch them. So I'm not, but it still is a very big accusation to put somebody that it's on there forever. Mm-hmm. So the most important thing was ownership of, and an apology. And And then in small claims court, the highest in Oklahoma you can go is 10,000. Other, talk was I could have probably got upward over $50,000 easily, just for the mental stress of it alone. Because as we all know, I get that crazy check that she likes to talk about. It's also called disability for the ones with the brain.
Crazy money.
Yeah, crazy money. And that it does make me laugh when I heard that. It's so funny because I have said things like that in a funny way.
So Amber was making fun of and holding disability, like a legitimate disability, against her aunt, which is insane to me because if Amber was not on YouTube, she would probably be going through the process of also getting on disability because of her weight. And the fact that she really is not mobile, she really cannot do for herself, which would classify her as disabled. I don't think that Amber understands just how good she has it, that she has YouTube, and that YouTube has lasted as long as it has for her. However, that may be running out quickly for her.
I watch a lot of crime shows. I always have my whole entire life. And at times I would joke and just be like, man, I could get away with it because I get a crazy check. I watch, I know how to cover up crime. So I don't know if that's where it came from, but there has been a couple references throughout the years out of my own mouth that I get a crazy check. So I know where it came from, but it's still just funny the way she says it. She gets money, crazy money. It's funny to me.
Yeah.
And then the bigger picture, and I had to look at it from my heart. And I don't want to destroy Amber financially. I don't want her to be paying me, a huge sum of money, or even have, because I don't think she would have it, first of all.
Well, actually, I don't know if you heard recently, but I feel like
Okay, I'm going to stop you there, Jordy. I think just the fact that somebody told Aunt Tammie, hey, you could sue for $50,000 or more. And her response was, no, it is the principle of the matter. I want an apology, and I want her to realize that her actions have consequences. If that doesn't tell you that Tammie loves her niece and still loves her niece and has always loved her niece, I don't know what else will. This is about teaching a lesson. This isn't about destroying Amber. If Tammie was out here just because she didn't like Amber and she wanted to destroy her and be this evil person that Amber makes her out to be, Tammie would have gone for the jugular, and she isn't. She is just setting a precedent with this, and she is teaching a lesson. And I honestly hope that Beck is paying attention, and Casey is paying attention, and Destiny is paying attention. And, I hope all three of them show up in Oklahoma and start filing. I mean, not gonna lie, I hope that other people start falling into line right behind Aunt Tammie. I honestly kind of hope that she made a fairly strong accusation against Jordy that could have affected Jordy's livelihood. Part of me kind of hopes Jordy will show up and file something as well. I mean, I know that's out of their way and it takes money and time and effort, but I would be here for it if they all did it.
in her last stream from over the weekend, she said that she can afford to take an entire month off, that she's sitting on a pretty nice savings account.
Yeah, I doubt that to be factual, but I don't know her bank account. I can't say I do, but I know what I know, and based what I know, she ain't got no savings. She probably made some good money off of this, and everything that's been going on currently. So as long as she doesn't overshop, she could be okay for a little bit, I'm sure. But does she have a nest egg to pay me a lawsuit? I highly, highly, highly doubt that.
Yeah.
So that was, one thing money can't buy is a good heart. Can't buy it. You either have it or you don't.
And I definitely sympathize with you when you say that these kind of accusations stay with you, even if you're cleared of it. This is attached to you forevermore. I mean, people will always think, oh well, blah blah blah, but like remember that thing about like this type of topic, it's like, something you can't wash off completely.
Yeah. Yeah, it will have lasting effects. But, I can't stay stuck in that. I can't change what she did.
Mm-hmm.
All I can do is show my proof, which I will. I will win that lawsuit, hands down. I have no worries whatsoever to that. It's very hurtful, though. It's very hurtful.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, we talked about, because I mean, obviously, Amber Lynn was like hurt by the fact that you came and talked to me and, came to the YouTube and everything. But I mean, really, what were we talking about? Her eating too much spaghetti? I mean, she turned around and did a 180 and was like, I mean, Amber, put the spaghetti down. And then she goes, oh, well, you know what about Tammy?
It's crazy to me that this is Amber's response to Aunt Tammie to make those kinds of claims, because Aunt Tammie came on Jordy, came on Jordy's show and was talking to Jordy. But we haven't seen the same backlash for Emily, who went on Snowflake, who Amber has said out loud she hates Snowflake the most. Snowflake is her biggest enemy. But we're not getting these kind of accusations made against Emily. We're not getting this sort of rage towards Emily for that. It's only aimed at Tammy. But I honestly think it's because at the end of the day, Amber knows that she cannot manipulate Tammy. She can't get her to do what she wants her to do, or to manipulate how Tammy views her, where she can with Emily, or she thinks she can with Emily anyways.
Yeah. Which, honestly, I was going to make y'all a little video today, practice some more, but because of what happened this morning and just work stuff, I just haven't had the time. But, all these things play in my head, like on a constant play cycle, And so I constantly thinking about things that she said that weren't true. And like, where could she even get the background to that from, And what really sticks out that I was going to make the video for, and it started from that spaghetti story. So when I said that spaghetti story, again, I didn't, in that moment, I wasn't sharing that for everyone to run with the spaghetti story and make fun of it and blow up in the way that it did. That wasn't my intention, but it did come out because I was there when she was born. She left when she was a couple months old, and that's the very next thing that I got to see of Amber. And so it is a big memory that I have. And so for her to say that didn't happen, I was like, okay, I mean, I block stuff out. I still continue to block things and suppress things, so I kind of get it. So I was like, okay, maybe. But when I can go on and on with other stories about my grandson's blanket, or talking with my sister on the back porch, or doing this, or going to visit with my grandpa, blah blah blah. When you're constantly manipulated, like, it really does mess with your brain to where you start questioning your own reality. And that, I knew I went. I'm not saying I doubted that at all, but I'm like, why would she not remember? So when she came back on and she said something like, my mom, her mom, and her daughter all said she didn't go. So she was saying that all of them say that I'm a liar, right? You guys will see proof that it's 100% the truth. All the way from my daughter sent her father a message in November of last year that asked, hey, do you remember when my mom came out to California and you guys met up and I was pregnant and you gave her a blanket for the baby? And he says, yes. And she says, my son is a senior this year and he still has the blanket, and there's a picture of him holding up the blanket. So there's proof of that part. If you do the math and how old he is, and the year I said I was there, right? But then I was like, I think there should be more, because, I take pictures. And at the time, I had a different phone, so there's no text on that. Way too long ago, So I was like, So we found, 4 or 5 pictures. But what they call like the moneymaker one, you know how it used to be in the old days when you actually took pictures and there was like a timestamp on it and a date?
Yeah.
It's there. It's there.
Oh, jeez.
June 14th, 2008.
Damn.
Amber only thought that she kept receipts when it came to the journals, her journaling. Um, Aunt Tammie has receipts. And I don't think that Aunt Tammie was saving them to be receipts because she was going to use them one day. I think Aunt Tammie honestly held on to all of this stuff, seeing it like treasures, because she loves her family, and she, you hold on to those things because you love them.
Yeah. So it will show once again that either Amber is again lying on behalf of other people because she don't care who she drags in the mud or who she destroys in the wake, and is outright lying about my mom, her mom, and my daughter saying that never happened, or she's just outright lying again. And I choose to believe the second one if had to have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just it's very confusing. I know what's going to happen. Amber will meet somebody else or continue. And I just misspoke. I said 2008. I want to correct myself. 2005. Just looked at the picture. My biggest hope at this point is that she does meet somebody else and they in another state, and she goes off and lives her miserable life, where at least my sister still remains to have a chance. Because this has to be horrible for my sister. And even though it won't change, unfortunately, me and my sister's relationship, I'm done. I'm at the end of my road. There's no making up. There's no, 500 chance, or the same for my mom. I can't. There's still going to remain no contact 100%. But that doesn't mean I don't still love my sister very much. I'm still very proud of my sister, from the person she came from to the person she is today, even with the mess, even with her part of the mess. I don't know if that'll ever change. So that's just another thing I'm just going to have to get through. That just that dream. I think when I was in counseling, I used to talk about it, and I think I got stuck in the dream. When you're constantly waiting for your sister to be okay, so then you could be with her and her kids, and I literally would say, and have picnics in the park and have birthday parties together, and those things that I do with my family. I wanted that for me and my sister and her kids. Everyone wants to talk about how some people aren't lucky enough to have children. I couldn't imagine.
Tammy's gonna make me cry, guys. I did not think I would cry on the internet in girl world. What she said about her sister and still being proud and still wanting to, hoping that she remains sober. I have had family that have had drug addiction and have gotten sober, and that is such a hard path to walk with family. And at the end of the day, I really just think Tammy wanted family. That's all she wanted. And I think that's really what all of us want. I mean, at the end of the day, we all could say that we are Tammy, because we all want that big family. We want that closeness. We want that love. We want to feel like the people who are important to us, that we are also important to them. I mean, and I feel it. I definitely do. My, my family is not overly close. My dad passed away, and we don't see a lot of his family. And part of it is because when his family looks at me and my sister, they see my dad, and it's hard for them, because they are still so heartbroken over losing him. My mom's side of the family, a lot of people have passed away. There's not a lot of family left. And so I miss and I crave having that big, giant family. And so to hear that come from Tammy, like it breaks my heart for her. Because I know what it is to want that and to crave that, and then to not be able to have it. Man, I hope Tammy wins, but I hope Tammy also gets a lot of healing. And I hope she builds the family around her that she wants. That's honestly what I hope for her at the end of the day.
one of the biggest joys I've ever experienced in my life. And my husband does not have any biological kids. And so we've talked about that from time to time. You know, I can't imagine what it would feel like. I'm so blessed to be able to share my kids and my grandkids with him. And he has stepped up to the plate more than I can ever express. But it's the same thing when it comes to being an aunt. You know, I was supposed to be an aunt. And I was supposed to enjoy all those things that come with it. And it's 5 times that happened, you know, and I'm sitting here with nothing. You know, my other 2 nephews that are, you know, the older ones that are still in our lives that are struggling really bad, you know, I do hear from them, but it's usually when they need something, you know, or want to know about my sister or something like that. I don't give up on them, though. I just set healthy boundaries. You could go way back on Facebook all the way even till present. You know, I won't support your addiction, but I will fully support your recovery. I will be there, you know, and help you all the way through it. And I've tried and tried and tried. But at the end of the day, I have 2 nephews that are struggling in and out of prison and out of just really bad situations. And the other 2 were taken, you know, and then Amber was the one who it could have been, you know, and it just, you know, I think I've tried long enough, and I've just at that point where I need to accept, you know, the picnics in the park and the birthday parties is long gone, you know, it's long gone. But I'm still like trying to fill that void, I think. So some people, you know, think, oh gosh, she's so obsessed with Amber. It's not really obsession. I was fooled for so long. I mean, I read those conversations, and, you know, when I hear Amber say,
I hope that Tammie finds somebody to fill Amber's spot. I hope that she finds somebody that she can adopt as a niece. And, you know, be able to kind of integrate with that person's family also. And, you know, be able to have the picnics in the park and be able to have, you know, the great nieces and nephews that run around. Because at the end of the day, when your nieces and nephews start having babies, it's almost like having grandbabies. And it's such a blessing. Like I really hope that she finds somebody to fill that void. I would have loved to have had an aunt like Tammie who loved me the way that Tammie has loved Amber, and to have somebody in my corner the way that she's been in Amber's corner. I don't think Amber realized just how good she had it having someone like Aunt Tammie in her life. And I don't think Amber realizes how many people in the world would feel so blessed, like beyond blessed, to have an aunt like Tammie in their lives. I know if I had an aunt like that, I would be overjoyed. I would feel like I had a second mother. I would, you know, feel cared for, and I would feel so special. And that's a bond that shouldn't be able to be broken, but, you know, Amber uses things up and tosses them out. And sadly, you know, Tammie was in the crossfire of that, and she got tossed out.
I just needed somebody to love me, to support me, to encourage me. I look back at those messages, and we're not talking 1 or 2. We're talking dozens of exactly that. Long-winded messages, encouragement, love, and support. You know,
I don't think that's what she wanted, though.
No. And that's the only thing that's really helped me with the now, because this really got confusing when I first started really putting the pieces and how long she's been here. And, you know, I'm so busy all the time. It's like sometimes days, like I say, just turn into weeks. And then all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, you know, it's been a while. I know she doesn't want me in her circle because she can't be who she is.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a person that I didn't know she was to that. Like, you know, in the very beginning of all this, I always said, you know, I watched every single one of Amber's videos. And that was true up until the point I was breaking away, and then she'd get me to go back. And sometimes I'd even watch some older ones, then. And then, but now looking, I've missed a lot. I missed a lot, especially over the feud. Like, I didn't know anything about the married couple. There's a lot of things that I knew nothing about. And that shows that I wasn't watching the reaction channels anymore. Since 2015, I was watching my niece.
Yeah, it's been a lot of the same. I mean,
not that it really changes, but when you just start hearing just the whole time that she was with her relationships, I would try to, ask about them and would wonder why they weren't in the conversation more. I'd love to get to know the person that you're in love with. It's part of your life. I want to be part of your life, And Jade was actually the only one that I never talked to her except that one day in the apartment when she got here. But as far as texting or anything, but she considered me. She gave me personal gifts for Christmas one year. She seemed very thoughtful in a lot of ways. But then, her story is all top secret. So it makes me wonder, whoa, because that's definitely the MO. When Amber is with somebody, they're the greatest thing that ever walked the earth. She feels a love like she's never felt before, and that thing has been on repeat. It's constant. And then after you hear all the stuff,
it's unfortunate
what definitely set me over the edge was the feeder. The feeder chapter just, it was one thing assuming it, and it was one thing trying to warn several members of my family about it and being concerned about it. I thought Amber was just so blinded by the fact of wanting to be with her that if she said she wasn't, then she believed she wasn't. And then when I started seeing out of my own niece's mouth,
she knew
that she knew, and she.
I think Amber knew full well who and what Emily was when they first got together. And I think she went into that relationship with eyes wide open, and she went in joyfully and happily and fully accepting what that meant for her and her future. Because I think at this point, all of our girls are just desperate to be loved and to be claimed, and they don't care at what cost that comes, which is sad. Nobody should feel that way.
Has done so much that I was not aware of. I just felt like an absolute fool. I felt like an absolute fool.
And I mean, those text messages you put up the other day, your sister asking you to not stir the pot. I mean, you're the only one speaking any sense.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because I can tell that you're someone that really cares, and a lot of your care has been wasted on people that don't want it.
Yeah. They wanted me for what I was good for them at a very long time. I did all those things, getting driver's license, birth certificates, just every life thing that you could think of, from teaching Amber how to fill out a money order, I did what a mom should have done,
Yeah. Can't choose your family, Tam.
No, you can't.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with Jordy, guys. You cannot choose your blood family, but you can choose your family. You can choose to build a family around you. You can choose to turn your friends into family. Sometimes I think chosen family is more important than blood family, because as we can clearly see here, blood family is not all that it's supposed to be or what it's cut out to be. So I think chosen family is sometimes more important. That's why I said I hope Tammie finds somebody to fill that void and lets her have a niece and lets her have that kind of relationship. I know if Tammie put out an application process to be a niece, I would sign up. I would love to have somebody in my corner who loves and would fight for me the way that Tammie does. And I think most of the world would agree with me when it comes to that. Amber missed out, and this may end up being one of Amber's biggest regrets of her life.
You can't. So, and the only other thing I could think of about is the court thing that people were wondering is why there's no, it doesn't say slander or defamation of character. And I don't know why it doesn't say it on that yet, but it definitely was on the paperwork that I submitted in order to get that filed. So it is what the charge is, slander and defamation of character for $10,000 in a public apology. The only reason why there's not a date is because when they gave me the hearing date, it was going to be October 27th. And I, unfortunately, will be on a cruise at that time. And so that's not something I could have rearranged. So when I get back from my cruise on that infamous date, November 1st,
I was about to say, could you imagine if your court date's November 1st?
You know, that would have been something. But no, I'll be traveling home on my anniversary. And so after that, I go back to the courthouse, tell them I'm back, and then they'll look to see what that next hearing date availability is. So it most likely won't be till probably November, realistically.
Oh boy. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh geez.
But nothing's going to change on my end. I'm definitely 100% going forward. So.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. I don't think what you're asking for is out of the realm of what seems fair and reasonable.
No, the most important part of it is just the lesson.
The apology. Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot do this to people and just move on with your life. And, you know, we know about the wreckage that she leaves behind in most relationships. So,
yeah. Well, I hope you feel better. Have a good rest of your night, hon.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for chatting again.
All right. Bye.
Good night.
Okay. That's all we're gonna watch of Jordy because I just wanted to hear it in Aunt Tammie's words. I can't believe she made me cry. Maybe I'm just a softie, I don't know. I don't know how anybody can see Tammie as anything other than the victim here. I do hope it all goes in her favor. I know if it's open to the public, I will gladly go and sit next to Tammie and cheer her on. I will gladly go and report back to everybody. I know Hecticona said he was going to try and go. The ankle has talked about showing up. Jordy's talked about showing up. Tammie definitely has a lot of people in her corner, more people than I think she realizes. So yeah, there we have it. And I honestly do think that this is going to be the biggest regret of Amber's life, not because of the money, not because of the embarrassment or anything, but I think one day she's going to look back and she's going to realize what she missed out on by throwing this relationship away, which is really sad. I do, however, I am finding great joy in realizing that, you know, there is no court date set just yet. Amber said she'd be back October 1st, which means she has a month to sit and worry about this in silence. And I'm kind of interested to see if she actually does show back up October 1st. And what she's going to have to say about it, because she's really going to have to mind her P's and Q's now that this has been filed. So this is going to be interesting, guys. Thanks for sitting through this with me. I am so sorry I cried. I do not want to be a blubbering idiot on the internet, but clearly that's what we are today. Let me know, did she get any of y'all? Did y'all tear up? She just broke my heart. Poor Tammie. I hope she gets everything she wants and needs and deserves in this life. So with that, I'm gonna let you guys go. Because if not, I'll just sit here and ramble all day. That's just, nobody wants to sit here for that nonsense. But I am going to remind you guys that you need to be good and behave yourselves. And if you can't, at least do it right and make me proud. And then post it online so we can talk about it later. Bye, guys.